For 9 seasons of basketball history, the ABA, known as the American Basketball Association, was a competitor to the NBA until the two leagues merged in 1976. During its lifespan, the ABA had around 10 teams in its league. Before the ABA had merged with the NBA, it was a league known for its free-flowing style, its small ball lineups, and it was actually the league that first introduced the three-point shot, which many people in the NBA thought was too gimmicky for a while. Many people in the basketball community, including viewers in my own comment sections, have been debating how the ABA stacked up against the NBA from a competition standpoint during that era. I would certainly love to hear some perspectives from people who are old enough to have witnessed those leagues, so if that's you, please let me know your thoughts in the comment section. The thing is, the NBA all-time lists do not recognize the achievements of the ABA, so all of their points, rebounds, MVPs, championships, and so on don't count towards the player's overall resume, and therefore alters where many great players could rank on the all-time lists. This has been especially devastating to all-time great players who spent time in both the ABA and the NBA. So what if we took into account everything that took place in the ABA as well? Whose legacies would be impacted the most? I've evaluated many careers of NBA players, and these are the ones that really stand out. First off, Moses Malone. If you've been following my channel for some time, then you've probably heard me say that Moses Malone is the most underrated center in NBA history. But I've been saying this simply based on what he accomplished in his NBA career. If you include his ABA seasons, he becomes even more impressive. These are the stats and accolades he was able to stack up in the totality of his career of both the NBA and the ABA. With his 2 ABA seasons included, he goes from 5th on the all-time rebounds list to 3rd overall, only behind Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain. Something that many fans don't know about Moses Malone is that he's easily the greatest offensive rebounder in basketball history. He was an absolute beast when it came to battling for position, securing the boards, and giving his team second-chance opportunities. On the NBA's all-time offensive rebounds list, Moses Malone is the history's leader, and no one else is even remotely close. If you include his seasons with the ABA, that gap gets even more dramatic. To even further emphasize how ridiculously dominant he was on the offensive boards, consider this comparison: Kevin Garnett and Moses Malone, both big men who played 21 seasons in their basketball career, and Garnett actually played in 7 more games than Moses did. KG is one of the greatest rebounders of all time, and at one point, he won 4 straight rebounding titles. Yet as impressive as KG was at getting rebounds, Moses has well over twice as many offensive rebounds in his career than Garnett did. If that doesn't tell you how unparalleled Moses was on the offensive boards, then absolutely nothing will. The next player we're looking at is the 6-foot point guard Louie Dampier, who played 3 seasons in the NBA with the San Antonio Spurs, but he played his 8 best seasons before that in the ABA with Kentucky. Louie was a great 3-point shooter, and when I say great, I mean he was elite even by today's standards. He shot 35.8% from 3-point distance over the course of his career, which is good, but the volume is the stunning part. During his prime in 1969, he was shooting 7.1 3-point attempts per game. This is how unique his volume of threes was in that era. In that same season that he averaged 7.1 attempts per game, the league average for an entire team was 5.9 per game. On an individual level, that many attempts would rank him in the top 20 players in today's NBA. If you want to talk about a player who was ahead of his time, there isn't many better examples than Louie, as it was common for him to spot up in the corner for a 3 even on a 2-on-1 fast break. In 1969, he made 199 3-pointers over the course of the season, and then followed it up by making 198 in 1970. It took nearly 3 decades for someone in all of basketball to eclipse that total. He averaged as high as 26 points per game in 1970, and by the end of his ABA career, he was the league's all-time leading scorer with nearly 14,000 points. Many of you have never even heard of this guy before this video, but if ABA achievements counted, many of you would know him as one of the pioneer shooters of the game, and as one of the great players of basketball history. Next up is Spencer Haywood. Given enough time, and almost every star eventually becomes underrated, but this is definitely a major case for Haywood. His NBA career saw him play with several teams, including the Sonics, the Knicks, and the Lakers. The 6'8" power forward only played 1 season in the ABA, which was his rookie season, but what a debut season it was. He was an incredibly talented and graceful big man who had fantastic dribbling skills and would often score in spurts with his solid mid-range shooting. In his debut season, he averaged 30 points and 19.5 rebounds on 49.3% shooting. Despite it being only his rookie year, he led the league in points, rebounds, and minutes while playing all 84 games in that regular season. He also led his Denver Rockets to a 51-33 record and was named that season's MVP at only the age of 20. If ABA achievements were acknowledged, then this rookie campaign would be on the short list of the greatest rookie seasons of basketball history. Here's the career accolades of the famous San Antonio Spur, George the Iceman Gervin. Now, with the ABA stats included, his All-Star appearances and his All-Basketball Team appearances dramatically increase. The all-time great scoring small forward, Rick Barry, now steeply increases his All-Star appearances, his All-Basketball Team appearances, and goes from 70th place on the all-time scoring list to the 24th spot overall, which now puts him ahead of guys like Jerry West, Allen Iverson, and Dwayne Wade. All-time great center Artis Gilmore strongly improves his resume as he gets more All-Star appearances, more rebounding titles, efficiency titles, and climbs significantly up the all-time lists in both scoring and rebounding. Guys like Dan Issel, Connie Hawkins, and Jimmy Jones also significantly improve their legacies. One of the biggest impacts would be how we see the man known as Dr. J, Julius Erving. The Doctor had a lot to his game, as the 6'7" small forward was one of the most athletically gifted players the league has ever seen. His unique style, flair, and dominance have led many old-school basketball fans to refer to him as the Michael Jordan before there was Michael Jordan. If you want a breakdown of his impact and greatness, then you can watch my How Good Was Julius Erving video. It's no question that the Doctor was one of the greatest basketball players to ever live. But if you include his dominant years in the ABA, he now legitimately enters the GOAT conversation, as his championships, his MVPs, his All-Star selections, his All-Team selections, and even his scoring titles dramatically increase. He also skyrockets from 72nd on the all-time scoring list to the 8th spot overall, putting himself ahead of legends like Moses Malone, Shaquille O'Neal, and Hakeem Olajuwon. With all this being said, it's understandable to an extent why the NBA almost never acknowledges the achievements of players from a former league that they were once competing with. There's also the question of competition and the strength of the leagues to consider. So, here's my question to you guys. Do you think the ABA stats and accolades should count on the all-time lists? Should they be treated as the same as all the other stats of the NBA's history? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Thanks for watching as always. Make sure to like and subscribe for more basketball content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.